Yeah, I'm Skip Slusher, and I want to talk a little bit about Spurs. And I know it's a controversial subject. A lot of people have very, very strong feelings on one side or the other, to use them or don't use them. And I do use them, and I want to explain why. So, do you ever find yourself feeling like as you ride your horse, you end up going to your hands a lot more because they're not listening to your legs or your seat? And horses tend to kind of numb up to legs. If you're just laying your leg on them, they numb to that, and so it takes more leg pressure and more leg pressure, and then they lean into it. And because you're not getting that light, soft feel from your feet, you end up going to your hands to try to make up for that. So I'm going to say that, and this is going to sound wild, spurs actually make you use your hands a little less. So it makes for a softer horse in the body and the face. But first, you need to have the right kind of spur. And well, first, I don't let people that are learning to ride wear spurs because they're too all over the place. They're not balanced. They don't have the leg control, and they're sort of wondering how to pressure, where to pressure, and I don't want them to hit their horse inadvertently with a spur. So that old saying, "Earn your spurs," actually has meaning, and that you have to get to a level of riding proficiency that now you can add spurs because you have control, and the spurs are not the main tool you use. It's just that little icing on the cake, I guess. So I have a couple examples on where we should start. In general, short leg people have either down drop or short shank spurs. Medium leg people can have like a flat spur, and long leg people can have a spur with a little arc in the shank. So here's some of mine, or some that I have here. This spur, cloverleaf rowel, short shank, very soft, nice beginner spur. You're not going to do a lot of damage with that, and if you feel this doesn't leave any kind of mark, that does nothing. Next step up would be this spur, which is again short shanked and has a small rowel, and it's flattened on the end. So this is going to do a little more than this, but not as much as the next one. Next one has a little longer shank, you can see, still flattened off and broad. So the broader the rowel, the less pressure on the horse. The smaller the rowel, the pointier the rowel, the more pressure on the horse. Then the next pair, these are the spurs I ride in, and they look threatening, but they're really not. These are still squared off on the end. And because of this large rowel, it's really, really not that much pressure on your hand or on the horse. So you can see how broad, that's 3 to 4 of these are touching the horse's side. So it's not like this pointy, sharp thing. And I have kind of longer legs, so I can have a little bit bigger shank, and I can keep them down away from the horse. So that's kind of in general. Well, James here is not sure he loves this. So that's kind of a general rundown on the type of spur to use, who should use what. And if you find yourself going up into really sharp rowels, pointy rowels, and you find yourself leaving tracks on your horse, there's a way bigger issue than your spurs. Either you're using them first, or your horse has become numb to it, and like you don't bit up, you bit down. Same with spurs. Go down and get softer. So the other thing is the spur is not your first cue. Your calf goes on, and if they don't listen to your calf, then you go to the spur, and it's just a soft little touch. It's not this big pop. I'd rather do that than have a horse who's not listening to my calf and I'm like bludgeoning them to death. And bam, 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 bam. This is just a more precise thing. The horse gets the message. And again, they're sequential animals, so they want to avoid the spur and they soften to your calf. So let me put mine back on, and I'm going to get on Jimmy here, and we'll show you kind of the way to do this. Normally these just live on my boots, but okay. So I'm not going to use any bridle on Jimmy. just because I want to show you what the spur will do. So, make sure my saddle's tight enough. Oop, mic is dropped. Okay. Now the way I use them is I hold my heels down, which you should be doing anyway. And if I'm out of balance, it's going to affect my spur. So if I'm leaning forward a lot, it brings my spur right up onto my horse. So if I'm up here, I'm hitting him with the spur inadvertently when I mean it or don't mean it. So sitting balanced, heels down, my spur's not on him, my calf is on him, but when I want to go to my spur, I tip my toe out, push my calf in to the point that my spur hits, and if that doesn't work, I dip my toe. Sorry, buddy. That was a little firm. So it's just, but it's that quick. It's a in and out. There's not a hold the spur like any aid. You get in, you get out, and it's the release of the pressure that they listen to. So the quicker I give him the little pop, the quicker he's gonna react. Now he's looking around because he's like, I didn't do anything. Why are you spurring me? So it's sort of a precise way to correct your horse. So if I put my leg on him, let's see if he doesn't listen. He listens. So let's see. Jimmy's behaving too well. I can't show you. So anyway, the point of the spur is it's an aid, kind of like a bit is an aid. And you see people that are hanging on their horse's mouth, same thing. You don't hang on, that's bad. You don't hang on their sides with your spurs. It's light, makes a light horse. But when you need to, you add a little firmness, which is the spur. And they are going to soften in the body, which then makes them soften in the face because you're not in your hands trying to make up for the hard body. So it's everything's connected, everything's part of the whole, sum of the whole. So I'd rather have precise instruments than bam, 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 because he didn't listen. And be soft. Weirdly, spurs make things soft. So if you have some questions on that, give me a shout and reach out. And if you like any of this info, subscribe.